Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is May 18th, 2017. One of the top stories tonight, CNN, Anderson Cooper interviewing the wife of Chester Bennington, the Linkin Park singer who committed suicide reportedly July 20th, 2017. And you might recall at the time, the story was that he was upset about Chris Cornell's reported suicide earlier in the year, May 18th, 2017. And then he hung himself on what was Chris Cornell's birthday. And we did a lot of work on this back in 2017. And again, on the 4-year anniversary, Chester Bennington's wife on the news on the anniversary of Chris Cornell's death and talking about mental health, because that's what both of their suicides ended up being blamed on, was mental health. But I want to show why that probably isn't the truth about their supposed suicides. And there was a number that I wasn't aware of back then, 201, which plays a big role in their deaths, something I missed out on when I was covering their passings back then. Also in the news, Rennie Stennett's death at age 72. He's dead 42 years after winning the World Series, and we'll talk more about that. He was on the first ever all-black Major League Baseball team, the 71 Pirates. Of course, in Gematria, African American 71. Talk about a lot of rituals with 71 in black history. But he's also dead the year of the 117th World Series. There's a whole lot more to this, so we'll cover that. He's dead 47 days after the MLB season began, like Jackie Robinson was called up in 47. So we'll get to that. Charles Grodin, the actor, Beethoven, Midnight Run, dead at 86. And realize these deaths today, again, today's the kill date, you guys, the date with the 3 numerologies that all connect to the Gematria kill. In the case of Charles Grodin, he's dead on his 28th day of his age. Kill has the Gematria of 28, like the date numerology. Rennie Stennett's also dead today, and he's dead on his 44th day of his age, born April 5th. But again, month after month on the 44-64 kill date, these same patterns every single month in the celebrities that are dead in numbers that connect to their career. And in the NBA today, just a non-consequential headline, the only 2 teams in the NBA that have a 201 connection is Indianapolis, which equals 201, where the Pacers play, and Charlotte Hornets, which equals 201. They're playing in the NBA's first ever play-in game. And no defense as always in the new NBA. Pacers with 40 points in the first quarter of the NBA play-in. That's the terminology they're using. NBA play-in. That's what they're calling this. But the 2 201 teams in the first ever, and there's even more to it, but again, from the news to the sports, it's all rigged and scripted the same way. Again, they use technology in sports to ensure outcomes, which they've hinted at for a long time through Hollywood. An update in the Andrew Brown killing. Remember, this was the killing in Elizabeth City on Queen Elizabeth's birthday. And the DA says that all the cops can be reinstated. They did nothing wrong. And, they're already having people choose sides. It's more divide and conquer type of news, but it's 27 days later. And again, just the gematria, the rituals, racism, Brown, ritual 27. That's what they're saying. Is this another case of systemic racism? But, yeah, there's a lot. If you've missed our coverage of the Andrew Brown killing on Queen Elizabeth's birthday in Elizabeth City, we've done several videos talking about it now. And yesterday, the 137th day of the year, the 33rd prime, big police reform with 15 major unions in the nation, saying that no longer are they going to protect bad cops with bad records. They're going to get them out. Big news on the 137th day of the year. Kim Potter, the police officer, her trial date also set for the Dante Wright killing, and it's December 6th. The date that can be written 6/12 like 612. Minneapolis is the 612 area code. And remember last year, the focus, the George Floyd killing, then went to Georgia on June 12th with the Rashard Brooks killing, 612. And in reverse, Sumerian Gematria, police is 612. Again, huge pattern that we talked about with police and shootings many years ago. My first book addresses the police 612 pattern. But this police officer killing trial date's going to start on 612, the killing from the 612 area code, where, again, police is 612. And you know what? Both of my books talk about the police 612 pattern. I make the point with the Rashard Brooks killing in my latest book. But also on the 137th day of the year, the 33rd prime, police 33. The White House on May 17th, yesterday, put out Joe Biden's tax returns. White House is 137, like Washington, D.C., like government, like authority, like 137 is the 33rd prime, and federal's 33. And the date had 43 date numerology as well, and tax returns is 43. But remember, that was always a big story with Trump, that he didn't want to release his tax returns. He really didn't want to put out his tax information. And again, all this stuff is scripted theater, man. All of it. And it's just to make people pick and choose sides at the end of the day. But every day, just garbage rolled out, buy a code, the latest distraction, the latest thing to gobble about. And another thing that CNN has ran with this for almost the whole day, like this is the only story going on in the world today. Labor shortage may signal trouble for Biden. And I'm just going, wait a minute, how can there be a labor shortage? Like, is it the same at your grocery store where there's now hardly ever any checkers open, and they probably in the last year or so added more self-checkout? Like my grocery store, whenever I go to it, I'm lucky if there's 2 checkers open, but then they have now 8 self-checkouts with like 2 people patrolling that. But back in the day, there would have been, 6 checkers, and I just liked it better that way. When the point I'm making is, how can there be a shortage of labor? There's like less and less a lot of jobs that used to exist are just disappearing, unless everybody's becoming an entrepreneur. Or is it because they did all this stuff so that people got even more money when they were on unemployment, and they made more money than they ever did in their life just being on unemployment in the time of COVID? Did they already create a culture of people who don't want to work and just want to wait for the next handout? They're like, you gave me enough handouts during the pandemic, so I'm just going to sit back and wait for the next handout. But anyway, labor shortage, this doesn't add up to me. This doesn't make sense to me. There's not going to be enough gasoline drivers, so there's going to be gasoline shortages this summer. There's not enough laborers anymore. What is going on? But labor, 21, right? And then they tell the story of this woman named Patty Eisenbrown, whose name equals 231, which is the 21st triangular number. So, by the way, Bank of America today, and remember, Bank of America was originally called Bank of Italy. That's its original name. It changed its name later to Bank of America, but it was Bank of Italy. But they came out today and said the minimum wage for their company will be $25 by 2025. And it just makes you go, okay. Are they telling us that, there's going to be about that much deflation in the currency between now and then, so that maybe what's $15 today is $25 just a few years away? I mean, we are looking at a lot of inflation, a lot of devaluation, and that could be what this story is really about. Just saying, $25 then is going to be what $15 is now, because there's going to be that much devaluation of the currency. It's going to become worth that much less. By the way, Bank of Italy's got that Gematria 64, and today's got 64 date numerology. Plus, it's 18/5, and Catholicism's 185, like mathematics. And all roads lead to Rome. Okay. Let me come back to this. Let's talk more about Chester Bennington's wife going on CNN to talk about mental health and suicide on the anniversary of Chris Cornell's death, which was directly connected to her husband's death, as we covered a bunch back in 2017. And that was the year of the Great American Solar Eclipse, and we knew it had something to do with Chris Cornell and Black Hole Sun, and I was missing something huge back then. But Chris Cornell, born July 20th, 1964, his 5th birthday was the day of the moon landing, right? In history, Neil Alden Armstrong, 201, July 20th, the 201st day of the year. And remember when he first died, they first reported he died May 17th, but then they shifted it to May 18th, and we noticed that was the anniversary of Ian Curtis's death, the singer from Joy Division, like Chris Cornell was the singer of Soundgarden, and also probably a number of other bands. Temple of the Dog, What's the Rage Against the Machine remake band? Audio Slave. He might have had some other projects. Didn't he do an album with Timbaland now that I think about it? Like, what in the world? Chris Cornell. Okay. Anyway, Chris Cornell, his biggest song, arguably, was Soundgarden. The Seattle band is Black Hole Sun, spelled like that. Hole, like a hole in the ground. Black Hole Sun 201, right? And his birthday is July 20th, the 201st day of the year, and he's recording up in Seattle. Seattle's where Seattle University is, one of the nation's 27 Jesuit universities. 27, infamous number with rock stars. But 201, huge number with the Jesuits. If you're new here, I got a book on 201 and the Jesuits. It's right here. Number games, 9/11 to coronavirus, the Jesuits in 201, and what's going on in the world right now. In Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation, where one of the main sponsors was William Henry Gates, whose name equals 201. And yesterday he was big news, 201 days after his birthday, with the affair details, maybe behind the divorce. But this 201, just such a big number. And of course, Chris Cornell's hit song equals 201, and he's born on the 201st day of the year. And then it just got me thinking about, okay, he died right before the Great American Solar Eclipse of August 21st, 2017. And remember, coronavirus hit Seattle first, where Soundgarden and Chris Cornell made their music. And corona, the term that relates to the light shown around an eclipse. So I'm starting to see how this all comes together now. This is all a build-up. All of this stuff has been a build-up to what these people are planning for the world. And the next great total solar eclipse in America is August 4th, 2024, that'll be right after the 44-year anniversary of the Georgia Guidestones. And remember, Seattle has that Gematria 44 as well. But anyway, I missed out on the 201 connection to this story. And a few more things that stand out. Black Hole Sun is on the album Super Unknown, which has the gematria of 191 and 56, like Society of Jesus, right? And 56 is the biggest number with the coronavirus. It's the 7th song of that album. And then I went back and saw when that album released, March 8th, 94. Remember, that was Bill Gates' big year. But Pandemic's 38, and Coronavirus Pandemic's 94, and Seattle, Washington's 94. And then, by the way, from Chris Cornell's death, May 18th, to the Great American Solar Eclipse, August 21st, was 95 days later. And again, we're always talking about the Jesuits in 201 and 95 and 56. It's always the same number combinations. The Jesuits created to counter the 95 Theses recognized by Rome on the day, leaving 95 days left in the year. So, and then that next one's on April 8th, 2024. Date that can be written 8-4. So, yeah, wanted to make sure that was covered. Another 201. And then, and by the way, just doing this, today has 64 date numerology, right? Chris Cornell in Gematria equals 64. And he died a span of 64 days from his birthday. And then today's ritual comes on the 64 date numerology as well. And then Rennie Stennett, the Major League Baseball player who's dead today, he's dead on the 64, 28, 44 day. Again, if you're new here, Gematria is based on the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology. It's just basic mathematics. You could teach this to anyone who can spell and do basic arithmetic. But again, it's as simple as K is the 11th letter, I is the 9th, L is the 12th, L is the 12th, just using the alphabetic order. Kill adds up to 44. Do it with numerology, it's 17. Do it in reverse, it's 64. Reverse with numerology, 28. But Rennie Stennett dead on his 44th day of his age on the 44 date. Keep in mind that number has a connection to the word African American, like Obama number 44, who just put out his book, A Promised Land, on the day, leaving 44 days left in the year. Acts, the 44th book of the Bible. Barack Obama, 76. Slaves, 76. Acts 7:6, all that. Million Man March on the day, leaving 76 days left in the year, but his birthday was April 5th, Rennie Stennett, dead May 18th. And again, month after month, we're showing the exact same pattern on the 44, 64, 28 dates. Just the same thing every single month, because it's not just the date numerology. You see how the people who die have the connection. And He's dead at 72 in the year of the 117th World Series. You see how Stennett's 117 and 72? Remember last year Mookie Betts went from Boston to LA in a big Jackie Robinson 42 ritual? He's now on the Dodgers. Dodgers equals 72 and 117. Of course, Jackie Robinson played for the Dodgers. The name Rennie Stennett also equals 79, like Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, who are behind all this. He won the World Series in 79, which was 42 years ago. And notice, Rennie Stennett, Society of Jesus 79, like the year he won the World Series, which was 42 years before 2021. Jackie, Tuskegee, slavery, the list goes on. There's a lot longer list to that 42 thing. But then, of course, Jackie was called up as number 42 in the year 47 on April 15th. And from the start of this year's MLB season to his death today is 47 days later, or 1 month and 17 days, like Stennett. And again, Dodgers is 117. But then also, from Jackie Robinson Day to the death is 33 days later, or a span of 34 days. And both numbers are interesting, because if you do the span of 34, Pirates is 34 forwards, 47 in reverse. But if you just do the singular, Pirate is 33. So you could also say the Pirate, Stennett, is dead 33 days after Jackie Robinson Day, or a span of 34 when he played on the Pirates, which goes with, again, the 34-47 thing from the start of the season and from Jackie Robinson Day, you see? Again, all this stuff is really simple mathematics. But and then just to pay tribute like this to Jackie Robinson in 21, again, Jackie 21, he was the first black baseball player in white major league in the modern era. Stennett was on the first all-black baseball team, the Pirates. And he went from the Pirates to San Francisco like a number of players have done in history, including Barry Bonds. And again, I mean, it's obvious that some kind of ritual takes place every single month targeting people ritualistically. Charles Grodin, dead today at 86. As we know, human sacrifice, blood sacrifice, 67 and 86 for both. The name Grodin, 67. And from his April 21st birthday to the death, his 28th day of his age, again, that's the date numerology, 28, 44, 64, kill, corresponds with all of that. And that's why on this day that comes up once a month, where there's always at least 3 of the 4 kill values, it's always some ritual so clear like this. And I'm sure there's a lot more here. I honestly really got skimpy on this decode. It's interesting that he's from Pittsburgh, because the other guy played for the Pirates. I'm going to have to look more carefully at that. Is there something greater going on between these two stories today? And then just, again, the first ever NBA play-in today, 40 in the most pure cipher, 40 points at the first quarter, huge score for basketball, ridiculous score. You know, back when I was growing up, average team in the East scored 40 points and a half. But this game, the first ever NBA play-in, is between the only 2-0-1 teams in the league. I mean, what are the odds of that? There's 30 teams in the NBA, so 1 in 15 times 1 in 15 chance, pretty much. Well, you could make an argument that, it's something like that, whatever. Okay. Yeah, and we covered this labor. Again, the DA today, just one more time, says that the officers who killed Andrew Brown on Queen Elizabeth's birthday in Elizabeth City, that they're fine. They can come back to work. It's 27 days later. Brown's 27 forwards and backwards, like racism Brown ritual, which is the narrative being pushed in CNN and MSNBC today, you know. So, and don't forget, when this death first happened, they didn't even have a name for him. They just reported he was a 42-year-old black man, which was what we covered on Queen Elizabeth's birthday. He was 42. Again, just the repetitive coding of the same numbers. And so much more to it as well. Remember the 56 and the Andrew Brown name, the Black Lives Matter number, just, again, so many things here. But today's update, 27 days later, you know, the next part of the story. And like we talked about, the police on the 137th day of the year saying that they're going to start going against bad cops. 137, the 33rd prime. 33, the big police number. Same thing with Kim Potter on the 137th day of the year. Covered that. Biden's taxes on the 137th day of the year. Covered that. And Again, they're saying there's a labor shortage. There's all of a sudden there's just not enough people to do jobs, even though a lot of people got put out of work. I mean, I don't know how. We really can't make sense of the times we live in. Nothing makes sense. Like, what in the world? We talked about the Bank of America thing. Again, Bank of America, originally Bank of Italy. Oh, good catch here. Someone in the community said we missed a big story last year, and we did. On May 3rd last year, 2020, remember we just talked about this yesterday with the Christ the Redeemer statue, how they put the vaccine saves on the Jesus in Rio de Janeiro, and vaccine saves is 201, like Rio de Janeiro. Ben called in and pointed out, or Bryson called in and pointed out the engineer of the statue's name, 201. And again, just the latest 201 ritual on the anniversary of Cladex. But last year in May, they put a mask on Christ the Redeemer, statue of Jesus. I noticed that the Mascara Salva must be Portuguese, the hashtag. Mask saves, I imagine it says. The mask saves, something like that. But notice it has Sumerian Gematria 666, just like vaccination, right? And this is a year before they up the ante to now the vaccine saves. Last year it was the mask saves. Now it's the vaccine saves. And remember, they did this latest ritual on the anniversary of Cladex, the simulation that was done May 15th, 2018, exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared, March 11th, 2020. And remember, 666 is the 36th triangular number, 151 is the 36th prime, and Jesus Christ equals 151. Mark of the Beast 54, mask and mark, one letter off. And then they did do this May 3rd last year, date that's written 3-5 in most of the world, like Catholic 35, or 5-3, COVID 53, religion's also 53. So, yeah, I was not aware that they did that. We missed that one last year. So, 2 Mays in a row, Christ the Redeemer. And remember, Agenda 21, which is in effect in the year of 2021, all the environmental pushes, and which COVID set up. You know, a lot of stories written last year in the time of the pandemic that the silver lining of COVID is it was helping bring the Agenda 21 goals in line. The full text of Agenda 21 was published June 13th, 1992, and that was the day they took their participant photo, which is the day leaving 201 days left in the year. And again, it was signed off in Rio de Janeiro, where Christ the Redeemer is, in Brazil, which is the nation of focus in Event 201. So you see how nice and neat it all comes together? I mean, it's a slap in the face. And the other thing to notice about what day the event ended, though, the event did not end June 13th. The last day must have been just like social gathering or something, because young Ben, he pointed out the point about how they published the full text of, the conference on June 13th. So the last day must have been some social kind of day. But June 14th is the U.S. flag's birthday, but don't forget it's also Donald Trump's birthday, right? Donald Trump was born in 46. This means Event 201, or not Event 201, but Agenda 21 ended on Trump's 46th birthday. 46, like virus is 46, Catholic. Again, how coronavirus is 56. The pandemic began 56 years after his Jesuit education began in 64. But yeah, I don't think that's... And don't forget, Ordo Ab Chao 46, Chaos 46. Again, and who was the president to start 2021? Trump. With the huge 46 transition ritual with Biden. So that's who this gang is, the Jesuits, the Order Out of Chaos gang. And the United Nations, right on their own website, if you look at their Agenda 21 thing, this is what they got. They got the photo right up there from June 13th, 92. The day leaving 201 days left in the year. That's big enough on the screen. And remember the jokes months ago about how before long they'll be swabbing us, in our anus to see if we have COVID, and then it was just like a week later that all of a sudden the headlines were coming out of China that they began anal swabs for COVID. Look at this scientific accomplishment out of Cincinnati. Cincinnati, where one of the Jesuit universities is, Xavier. But anal oxygen administration may save lives. Inspired by fish, researchers are planning oxygen enemas. And this was published May 14th. 14/5 Catholic 145 sodomy. You know, the Jesuit logo, you flip it upside down, it spells out shit, the anal focus. Can you imagine breathing through your ass? Talk about bad breath. Oh my God. And again, if you have not seen the movie Children of Men, I haven't seen it in forever, but this would be one to check out. Again, a future world where people are infertile, and in the artwork for the film, clearly a tribute to the eclipse, like, again, corona, the light around the edge of a total solar eclipse. The coronavirus, the vaccine went live in December of 2020, the month of the total solar eclipse in Pope Francis's native Argentina, the first Jesuit Pope, Mr. 201 himself, after the 201 coronavirus pandemic simulation. And again, South America, the big focus now. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Gonna eat something with Sweet Lady here, and then probably go on a little walk. And remember, take care of yourself, Truth Seeker. Get some basic exercise each day. And Lynn, if you're out there. By the way, Lynn, I did see your text message. I am very sorry to Lynn. Lynn, I offended. She said I was very mean to a girl out on the corner the other day, and that girl reminded her of her daughter, and then she felt like I was being mean to her daughter, even though it wasn't her own daughter. And I know Lynn's a nice person, so it makes me feel bad that I hurt Lynn's feelings. But again, Lynn, realize that woman was screaming at me from the side of the road, talking all this mess when I'm out there just sharing knowledge and information. So honestly, if that's how your daughter behaves too, maybe you don't need to feel bad about that. Maybe your daughter would need to be made an example of too. But I understand. I could have been nicer. But yeah, there's a lot of trash people in the world. And in my opinion, that was a absolute trash human being. So hopefully she does change. But sometimes it's tough love that makes people change. So anyway. We'll leave it there for now. And